Barcelona lose 2-1 in the Santiago Bernabeu against Real Madrid in an old-fashioned El Clasico match. Before the match, Lamine Yamal talking bad about Real. Everyone was expecting this to be a huge game, one of the biggest El Clasicos in the past couple of years, and that was pretty much the case. What happened here? Real Madrid are now 5 points ahead of Barcelona's La Liga table, and this is just going to keep us more intrigued than what's going to go on later on the season here. And this match, end of the story. You talk bad, you got to perform, to the point where you just make yourself look bad. Going into the match before, the whole debate with Lamine calling out Real Madrid, taking shots before the match, that's fine. You can always talk the talk, but you have to walk the walk. You have to perform. After you just bash out a whole club on cheating, on their performance, on what you've done in their stadium in the past, and then just for you to ghost, just for the whole team to play bad, this doesn't help your case at all, and just makes you and your club look like a banter club, and it's just not. It's not the greatest thing, especially Real Madrid played way better. Jude Bellingham was amazing. Vinicius Jr. was amazing. Kylian Mbappé. You have to put in, you talk bad, you have to put in the performance that you promised, and you just didn't do that. Big thing I always heard was that Barcelona was using their B team. Where was that comment last season with Real? Real had Fran Garcia, had Mendy playing a left back. They had Militao out, Alaba out, Rudiger was out here and there, Carvajal was out. Madrid had no proper right back. They used Tchouameni as center back, and they didn't have any proper players back. You had a midfielder playing center back. You had a winger playing right back against El Clasico, but that's not a B team, right? I just hate that narrative. If you're gonna say that's a B team, then you can't count those El Clasico wins last season as proper wins, because you went against a team without their even defense. So that whole narrative is just dumb here. But here we're gonna head to the other screen. 2-1 win with goals by Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham. Fermin Lopez gets a goal. For me, a lucky goal. Arda Güler just panicked and just gave the ball straight to them. He didn't really know what to do, I guess, in that situation. I guess he just wanted to, get out of that situation by dribbling, but that wasn't the case. And then Fermin was able to get the goal there. Pedri receiving a red card during the match. I don't know what he was thinking. Of course, the first one, Vinny, he was grabbing Vinny's shirt. If he wants it, you can go buy one. But you in this case, you got to do what you got to do. Could that play turn out to be a goal? Who knows? But he did what he believed what he had to do, and he just got payback for it towards the end, receiving a red card. Here in the starting 11, I was surprised seeing Camavinga start. For me, I wasn't a fan. I preferred Arda playing more as in the midfield center, instead of playing the right, but it really wasn't the case this match. I feel like I think I saw Camavinga more on that right hand side than Güler, and Camavinga had a decent performance. He had a few mistakes, but he did play really decent this match. Courtois didn't really have to, he made some clutch saves in the beginning, some key grabbings. Barca had a few shots in the beginning of the game, and Courtois was able to grab him and save him from there. Carreras had Lamine on lock. Lamine was just not the player for Barca, but we'll get there. I think Carreras had a really good game. Dean Huijsen wasn't the best center back, but he had a chance on goal. Really good performance from Dean, but Militao, if he keeps playing like this, best defender in the world shouts, really, from Eder Militao. It's a shame how Madrid had back-to-back ACL injuries with him, and now you're getting to see the level of what type of player he is and how important he is to Real. Fede was, for me, a key player in that midfield. Amazing cross, or not midfield, but as a fullback. Key passes, crossing, getting the ball over, switching it. Just for me, I think Fede is great in that role. He looked great against Juve and looks great against Barca there. It's a shame. I don't want to see him in the midfield, because I think in this situation it benefits him more playing back there. Because in the midfield, you want to add more creativity. Not saying Fede is not a creative midfielder. He's more of a, for me, he can play. He's more of a wing back. I think he 100% like a Carvajal, not really Carvajal, but that's that player that gets to gets the ball in, crosses. Just a player like that. And if you put him in the midfield, you're gonna have to take out somebody. So you're gonna drop a Camavinga, you're gonna drop a Fede, you're not gonna drop a Jude, you're not gonna drop a Arda, unless you play Arda up top. But that means you're gonna drop a winger. So it's just the situation there. And I think Fede looks great, and uh, now with it's good that he can play there. That's good rotation wise, but for starting wise, um, you're obviously going to use Trent or Carvajal and try to develop Trent to be that main right back for the future of Real. But we'll see from there. Tchouaméni was that anchor. Oh, I always say he's that anchor for Real Madrid. You need someone. You need a DM or that player to track back in the defense. He had a few situations I didn't like where he didn't. He would lose it and not go for it and stuff like that. But overall, he had a decent game. Vinny, for me, I think his rating should be actually higher. I'm always the type of player that's really, I don't want to say strict, but really, or not biased. Just I haven't been a fan of Vinny for a while now, and this match, I think his I always say I'm like Vinny's rating should be lower, this and that. I think he was such a key important player for Real Madrid yesterday. He looked great. He looked really good. Um, I'm always harsh on Vinny because I know that the type of player he's capable of being of because I know it. I've seen it. This game was a glimpse, more than a glimpse of it, really. I think his rating should be like a 7.8, maybe an 8. I think he was really a top important player for Real Madrid this game. Arda, he made that huge mistake giving Barca the goal. That goal should have never happened, but Real Madrid shouldn't have conceded. Madrid actually should have had more goals. Dean Huijsen had a shout. Vini had a shout. Rodrygo and Mbappé should have had like 3, 4 goals this match. Um, a lot of offside goals too, but it's a shame really. But there's that. Or I don't want to say he's not that player in big games. Um, I don't know. I think he had a decent. I don't want to say decent. He could have done 100% could have done more. I think Jude really stepped up when Ordo didn't, and that's key there. Kamavinga like I said, he had a decent game. A few mistakes, but he had a very fair game. Jude Bellingham, what what a game! That's the Jude Bellingham I know. Um, I said it when he started in Atletico. I don't know why he started. I think Bellingham should have not started, and that just sorry I heard something. Um, Madrid lost 5-1 because of that. It's not key. Um, I swear I hear something. Uh, but yeah, he started way too soon. I think he needed time to get back from injury, develop, get into the system, and I think that's what he actually really did. And he's getting to the groove of things. That he looked good against Juve, and now he's looked great against Barca. That's what you need. And then Mbappe, um, no, he had a good game. I'm not gonna lie, but he wasn't as there. Oh, of course, don't get me wrong. He had a hat trick, offsides, all of that. But um, you know, I'm Mbappe. Usually, when I see him in games, he's more effective. Not goal wise. Goal wise, he's always effective. But like dropping back, getting in space, stuff like that. He had a great game. Don't get me wrong. Probably top 3 best players. Um, now actually, I would have Jude. I would have like Jude Militao and like Vini or not Arda. Kerr is better, but for Mbappe, I think he could have done way more in the game. More like he had a few chances where he could have scored. His finishing wise could have got better. Don't get me wrong, he scored a screamer, but I think he could have done way better. And that's just complimenting him more because he had a good game. But I think he's the type of player that can do do amazing things. But there's that. Yeah, the only thing I was shocked about this lineup was Camavinga starting. I actually thought they were gonna start like Ibrahim Diaz. I said that in the preview, but there's that. And then Barca as a whole, they were just a mess. Missing key passes, the high line, the just in general. And don't say it's a B team. This is not a B team because Farron usually starts up top. It's not Levy anymore. It's literally Farron. Lopez has been arguably one of your best players this season, so he's not a B team type player. So don't say that. Um, you guys hardly start Araujo, so don't say Araujo's not a bench, or don't say Eric Garcia's not a bench player because you saw him more than Araujo. So I hate that narrative. And then the only player that's missing out is Rafinha. Um, because yes, this injury list is long. Daniel Olmo, these are like first team type players. They're not just John Garcia. Um, but for Flick, that's on his own. He did that. He knew that his next game's was Clasico. That's on him. Don't act like my coach was never lost. No, he did that on his own. He knew the next game was important. Christensen, you would here and there, but he's not a guaranteed starter. John Garcia has looked great this beginning, but don't act like Barca fans were acting like Chesney, what should have been what best goalie and stuff like that. I've seen that everywhere last season with that run Barca had. They're saying how Chesney should have been nominated or should have won like best goalkeeper. So starting your quote unquote best goalkeeper last season, that's not a bench player. So get out of here with that. Ter Stegen, I see more hate than love for Ter Stegen, so that's a no. Daniel has been underperforming this season. For me, it's better than Daniel, so off. Sure, that like bench wise, sure, but don't say you lose to a B team. And then Gavi, who's in and out here and there. He's been out for a year, so you can't say that they're suffering because they don't have him. That's not true. Only one's Rafinha. That's the only one you really take. And then Rudiger and Alaba are hurt with that. That's really much the only take. The only one is Rafinha. We'll swap with Rashford, and I think Rashford had a decent game. He could have had like 2 goals for me in this game, Rashford. Besides that, but Real Madrid's lineup had Fran Garcia last season, all that. Chouameni playing back, Asensio, up and coming academy kid, and then Vasquez, and then but instead you could have had a Carvajal last season. You could have had a Militao. You could have an Alaba, and then a fit Mendy or a proper good left back. Madrid hasn't had one in a while, really. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of Mendy, but there's that. So, Barca's best player that match, yeah, probably Chesney. Yeah, Chesney. There's no one really in that. A lot of mistakes happened for Barcelona last match, so that's what I have with that. Subs, that whole Vini debacle, I think it's just childish. This whole season, I see him and fans and online hate on Xabi Alonso for the substitutions. I've always said, think of it as more of a benefit than imagine. Like, let me see here. Barca took out who they take out? Let's say they take out Lamine. They didn't, but let's say they take out Lamine and put in Rooney. Your star player for Rooney. He's good, but not Lamine level. Imagine you can take out a player and put in a Rodrygo. Put in, you have superstar players in your team. Imagine taking out a player and putting on a Franco, even Endrick, a Trent, a center back. You can take out Huijsen for a good performing Raul Asensio. You can take Fede for a Carvajal. You can take out here a Vini for Rodrygo. That's a benefit. You have that in your team. So you don't have to worry about this player is not going to perform as good. You have you have a 2-time Champions League winning player substituting for. Of course, Vinny wants to play 90 minutes, but he needs to understand that rotation is key. That's why Xabi Alonso doesn't start the same lineup every week, because he knows that rotation is key. That's what people don't really understand, and you have to be grateful that you're not forced to start a different lineup every week. He's not forced to. He can if he wants to, but he doesn't. It's just Madrid has so much talent, and you just need to rotate the squad. You need to rotate the system. You need to fix everything. Not fix, but that's the one thing I hate, that narrative of he hates Vinny because everyone else gets subbed out too. Maybe not Mbappé as much, but everyone else gets subbed, and it's not just Vinny. It is not just Vinny. Everyone gets their turn. So, and the one player that should be angry is Rodrygo. But he's accepted that he's not going to get minutes because he wants to play on that left-hand role. He would start without a doubt on the right, but he doesn't want to. So Xavi's like, all right, then you and Vinny are going to, in and out. And you should see that as a benefit because Rodrygo is a class player and such an underrated player for Madrid. But yeah, here we'll see league table, 5 points ahead. That's really good to see. I'm really excited to see. You see Madrid capable of winning against big teams. They haven't technically won. I'm sure they beat a City, and then you have the whole Champions League phase, Club World Cup. But they haven't defeated an Arsenal, a Barca, a Bayern. They defeated City, but City was underperforming really in the beginning of last season. Still a top team, but um, this is something Madrid needed really. They could have 100% scored more too. The next game is against Valencia, and I want to batter Valencia. I've always hated the fans and everything. So I just, after this El Clasico win, you need to come in and don't do an Atletico that wins and then lose to a bad team. That's what usually Atletico do. So we just need to get into that whole thing. That's pretty much what I have here. Barca's next match is Elche. Barca's probably gonna win that, and this week. No way, Pedro is it? No, this guy. That can't be. No, yeah, it's round 10. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have here for the El Clasico.